All right. So, welcome everyone. This is the Monday morning meditation energy update for the new Earth. I do this to help us all connect and stay united and embracing the new Earth energy. And what that really is the Earth as she was a long time ago before the descent in consciousness, where we forgot that we were connected with the animals, with the elementals, that we were connected with each other. And that's a lot of what was coming through for this month. And those of you that read the newsletter I sent out a couple of days ago, a lot of it was about the nervous system and how we're actually hardwired to respond to the environments we're in a certain way. And this is backed up by science, and this has been spoken of by the mystics for a long time. And what came through for me is how ingrained this is and how deep it is. It's not just subconscious, it's unconscious. It's that part that from experiences from when we were 1 or 2 years old, 3 years old, things that we can barely remember unless we go in with somebody that can guide us to that depth of our consciousness and even into other lifetimes. So, with all that being said, I'm going to basically set the container a little more. I'm feeling a lot of energy and a lot of like busyness of the mind today, like in my own experience with my energy this morning and then also on this call. So I invite you all just in this moment to close your eyes if you feel comfortable with that, and then finding your breath, noticing that you are in fact breathing. And as always, no matter what happens internally, never to judge it, make it wrong or bad. Just notice if the breath feels a little shallow or shaky. And then this is like the greeting, this is the coming together with ourselves. And really, I see this, we're bringing consciousness to this situation, this sensation, this almost like noticing. And as we do that, we start to dance with it. We start to bring in basically the spirit is how I see it. So the way through everything, addiction, anxiety, depression, is to bring awareness to it. And what happens is when we do that, it seems to make it worse. And that's why we have these tools to self-regulate. And one of the biggest ones that's come through from the ancients and confirmed by science is that we can regulate the nervous system with the breath, with what's called a vagus nerve activation, where at one point we thought we were just at the whim of the machine of the body and it would just react and respond in certain ways. And yet we had these beings that overcame trauma and intense experiences to become enlightened masters walking on the earth that could be assaulted in various ways, energetically, physically, and still maintain a level of peace and calm. And so just notice your body in this moment. And we never want to assault our body with any thoughts or judgments that are coming through about it. We can become aware of that, but we want to use the breath to just lovingly acknowledge whatever's there. So whatever's happening in this moment, in the mind, in the body, in the awareness, just take a breath in through the nose and release out through the mouth. And notice as the breath comes in again, you can bring that expansion. And with a ha, releasing down, relaxing. And as we do this, we want to feel our feet, because there's a tendency for those of us that have had trauma or that channel or that try to go into this bliss state will leave the body. And we never really want to do that. We want to stay rooted and grounded here on earth, because there were times when that was helpful and needed, but now we're in a safer time. And that's what the new earth is. And this is what this whole call is about, is how do I be here and embrace the joy, the beauty, the opportunity that exists on this planet. Yes, there's other things happening. And that's what we're feeling in our body a lot of times, is as we watch the news, as we connect with others, there's this pulling, this tingling, this busyness of the mind. And so just coming back to the breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth with ha. And as you do that, I invite you to connect with your heart, just the awareness of where your heart is. And this isn't the meditation yet. We're just tuning into the field, tuning into what we're experiencing. For all of us on this call and watching are connected. And so there is a field of energy. Like even if you had your camera on when you first came on, you saw the other people, you saw interaction. And there's an unconscious part of us that's making up stories. And that's what we're noticing with the nervous system in this moment. And this is the beautiful feedback that it is. Some of that is genuine, and some of that is just old programming, that which is hardwired. So just notice anywhere in the body, maybe some tension in the belly, breathe around that space. Don't try to force it. Don't try to blast through it. Just breathe, lovingly acknowledging wherever the sensation is. And then let go. Allow a little stretch and movement of the body. Sometimes some release with tears, with a yawn, with twitching. Just staying with the breath. And we're going to invite in our guards, our guardians, our guides, our higher selves. Be here now for this call, for this clearing, for this activation, and for this energy update. That energy ripple out. Okay, so thank you for that. And I invite you to stay with your breath. You can keep your eyes closed if you like. And what I've been tracking a lot lately is, and I saw this when I started working with people more in like a clinical setting and also with mentoring and doing energy work and even tarot readings, is there's a tendency for people to at times isolate, where they will literally stay in their house for 3 or 4 days and not leave. And this was always interesting because we think it's the thoughts and the ideas about what we have about the world. But what I'm seeing more and more is it is the actual nervous system, where we could have an experience when we were 2 or 3, where in our current society, often there's not the village setting that we had before. It would just be a single parent with the child, or the father or mother's at work in that one parent's home, and something would happen. And that 3-year-old would witness a meltdown or a period of upset, a period of overwhelm in their parent, and they wouldn't have the ability to look and see what was going on from the feedback of anybody else in the room. So they were left there as a 3-year-old to try to figure out what was going on. And what they usually came up with is, I did something wrong, I'm bad, and I'm evil. And what that does is it can leave a marker in our unconscious mind that will carry through our whole lives. So at certain points when something happens and someone gets emotional or something happens in the world, we always look around to see how other people are responding. But before we even do that, there's this trigger of, oh, this is my fault, I did something wrong. And so that's why in any now moment, we want to always work with the breath and come into that awareness like we just did, that's how we can rescript and change that situation, not from controlling the person or even rescripting the thought, but to actually lovingly acknowledge that part, that it's not evil. And that's what's happening in the world, in my opinion, right now, is you have somebody in power that people think is evil, a tyrant, horrible. You had a previous administration that people thought was ridiculous or the savior. And really what that's all reflecting is our internal process and what we've been holding on to, that all these people are playing a role for us to work with that energy as it comes up and really ultimately choose how we want to move forward. And so what I've seen a lot of people do is become inspired by, no matter who they wanted to win this election, to become inspired to be that change, to be the leader that they are in their own life, regardless of what's happening. And more people are realizing that it's not about who or what is controlling the earth or our environment or our setting. It's like, how do I respond to it? So when a spiritual awakening happens, many of us think everything's going to be great and wonderful, and I'm going to win the lottery, or I'm going to manifest all these things. And then that honeymoon phase is over, And the reality comes in that, oh, I'm still on this planet. I'm still needing to chop wood and carry water. And that's like these phases that come through. And so that's what I'm seeing this new earth energy is bringing in, especially at this point, is all these opportunities to work with what it brings up inside with the unconscious. And our nervous system is the feedback for that. So, and this is gets into, again, with the healing with the breath, with the spirit. So let me see what else wants to come through. And so many of you may know somebody that can become overly reactive or judgmental or triggered when certain things are mentioned or described, and how they actually shut down and they're not able to listen to what's being offered. And there's either a response to leave or continue to fight and argue. And we know that's the activation of the sympathetic nervous system, where we're literally on edge, ready to fight, ready to run. And there's also the fawning, where it's the exact same situation, but the person is trying to just please and cater to that person's needs and wants. And everyone loves this person. Everyone thinks they're great. But what's happening is they're slowly wearing away their own power and ability to ask for what they need and set boundaries with others. And then there's the rare unicorn that you meet, where someone is actually able to hold that stillness, hold that patience as there's a reaction, as something's happening, and they become that reflection for that person. And I experienced that in my own life when I was younger, where how I grew up, there was a need to be right. In order to win, you had to be right and make the other person wrong. And this plays out with like a tyrant, somebody that walks on eggshells so that they don't upset that person gets what they want. And then this is how the child takes their power back, by being passive aggressive, by poking at that person, to taking them right to the edge and then be like, oh, I'm just kidding, or why are you so upset? And we've all met that person as well. And so when I'd run into somebody that actually had like a secure attachment, I could calm their nervous system, they would simply stand in it, allow what was happening to happen, and then ask a simple question. Oh, why would you say that? Oh, what do you mean by that? Calmly and politely. And this, in my opinion, is the person that's come into a level of mastery with being fully immersed in their environment, but not overwhelmed by it. Someone that they may themselves be reacting, but they're not perpetuating that reaction. And so this is the point on the planet that I'm really feeling strongly is happening in this choice point. Where are we going to continue to choose to react to what's happening? Or are we going to allow ourselves to feel it and actually potentially be overwhelmed by it, even though that's not possible if we're breathing? The mind would argue this, and the mind will give you examples right now in this moment where that did happen. And yet here you are, you're not in a mental institution, and you're not locked up in prison somewhere or something. Like, we can navigate what's happening in our reality. And so that's what this meditation is about, is basically giving you a tool. And I've done this many other times, but it'll be slightly different. But the tool of how you can regulate your nervous system, how you can connect to spirit, and how you can use that in any now moment, while a part of you is overwhelmed, while a part of you is being attacked, essentially, because we are multidimensional beings. And so in any now moment, there are millions of versions of us living on numerous planets, having all kinds of experiences. And so more and more, as we attain this 4D reality people want, to the fifth dimension, the multidimensional aspects of who we are, things are going to come to visit as an opportunity to be like the God point, the consciousness for all those other versions. Like, everyone wants to be more conscious, more spiritually awakened, more enlightened. But what that means is you're more sensitive and you're multidimensionally sensitive. And so the people you meet and the things you feel, even sitting alone in your room, is a version of another part of you. And this is what I've been working with. This is what I've been feeling. And you can take this in if it resonates or just leave it. But this is the perspective that I'm offering, is that a lot of what's happening when we feel sad, upset, or scared, even when nothing's wrong, when we use our rational mind and look around in the room, there's nothing wrong. And so we would breathe and we'd soothe ourselves and be like, oh, I'm okay, there's nothing wrong. But what if there is a part that isn't okay? What if it is being harmed? That version of you is being harmed in that moment and is being gaslit or confused by you saying, oh, it's okay, you're fine. And so this is what we bring in that space, in your safe space, in your home, to breathe and feel what's there, to be that presence, acknowledging it, but never overwhelmed by it, because you are with that breath, you are with that spirit connection. And in that moment, you are sending energy to that being, you are carrying them, you are supporting them so that they can shift that timeline, they can change their perspective in the situation, or someone comes to the rescue of them. We don't know how that would play out. And it reminds me of the Jesus story, or the poem, when you have the footprints in the sand. There's 4 footprints, and there's periods in the sand where there was only 2 footprints. And it's like, why would you leave me in my times of greatest need? And it was like, well, my dear beloved child, I would never do that. Those are the times when I carried you. So that's exactly what I'm talking about here. Not to say we are Jesus or we're any better than anyone, but like to acknowledge the multidimensional aspect of, as we attain mastery, as we go to these higher levels of consciousness, there's going to be an opportunity to work to be like that figure, to be the God spark that we are for all these other versions. And in my opinion, we can keep it simple with just the nervous system, by just the feedback from the body. And so that's where the meditation is going to go. But first, I want to pull a couple tarot cards to see what the energy is for the month of May. The flow of this call is a little different from the others. It's interesting. As I don't know about you guys, but it's been rather intense. And a friend of mine and I were talking last night about just this feeling of something coming, like some kind of revelation, some kind of breakdown, some kind of system change. And that's definitely, the concern to a lot of people. And that might be all it is. It's just the collective consciousness. People are just worried and concerned about what all this means, because there's been so many changes and shifts. We'll see what the cards have to say about that. I got the King of Pentacles, the Queen of Wands, and then the 4 of Pentacles reversed. And so I'll just start with the last card, with the 4 of Pentacles reversed. And this is, to me, it always represents like a card of letting go. Like you see, he's clenching, the pentacles, the coins, which is the material, the earth element. So things that we manifest, things that we hold precious, things that we think we need to survive and thrive. And with it reversed, it's like this asking us to let go, asking us to release what we think is our basis of safety. And this is one of the things we were talking about last night, was that no matter what happens, we know we can be safe and we can be the love that we need in that moment, whether all the money disappears, like no money's coming in, or, living in Hawaii, like we live on the big island in Puna, where, you got to catch your water. Basically, you have catchment tanks. So water that comes from the sky, you catch it. There's not always good plumbing. There's mold sometimes. Sometimes there's rats, because we live in the jungle. If there's not a cat around, and you got to trap them. So there's just this really wild living we have here, depending on what section you live in. And it really makes you appreciate when you go to other parts of the US and there's like clean water, hot water, that it's, there's AC, it's quiet. You don't have a rooster farm behind you. You don't have a barking dog. That's kind of the security here, is you have a dog and a gate. That's the security people have. So, but it's like that with, it really teaches you to appreciate what you do have, and that no matter where you go, there you are. And that's what this meditation's about, that you can be that love and presence no matter what's happening in your life and no matter what version of you is coming to visit, which I believe is a lot of when I would feel overwhelmed and depressed or sad. And I would just keep saying, oh, it's okay, and breathe, and it wouldn't get better. And I never really understood what that was until the last couple of years. I'm realizing that that was an aspect of me that wasn't feeling well, and it didn't want that. It just wanted my presence and that spirit, that spark, that love that I am. And to me, that's what the King of Pentacles represents, is basically someone that is so in tune with who they are and with their manifestation ability that they just grow and cultivate what they need. And it's not necessarily external, even though this is about a card of manifesting an external wealth and things of that nature. But it's also, this is the only minor arcana that has like the sphere, or the what the sphere represents, or this scepter is like the Christ consciousness. And so you won't see this in any other minor arcana. It's in the major arcana normally. So it's basically the acknowledgement of, it's not from material gain and from the intellect and all these things that this person acquired what they had. It's from the ability to realize that they are like the Christ, that they are a divine being in unity and oneness with all things. Therefore, all things come to them. And the next card, and that's a more masculine card, because it's about the fruits of the labor that's internal and how it would manifest, how it would come to us. Whereas the feminine is the one that actually helps us receive everything, the feminine energy within us. Without the feminine, we won't be able to hear the whispers of the universe. We won't know how to pivot and change direction so that we can have a harmonious relationship, so that we can have successful businesses or enterprises or whatever we do. Is there's the whispers that come through. And so the Queen of Wands is the woman of magic, passion, same, like somebody, if you were to come to her house, it would be very joyous, fulfilling, happy, and you would feel like really loved and cared for. And so to me, what all these cards are representing is that as we step into embracing the magic of who we are and our passions, and really acknowledging this God consciousness that we are, that we're able to shed and let go of these things we think we need to be safe and stable in the world. So I would read that as potentially there'll be a change or transformation that happens to the economic system, or to something we think we need to feel more stable and supported in life, and then the opportunity to work with that and letting go. All right, so let me just tune in if there's anything else that wants to come through with that. Okay, no, that's it. So we'll see what comes through in the meditation. I invite you all to get comfortable. If you want to lie down, or if you're seated, you want to sit up a little straighter, keeping the spine straight, using the spine as like an antenna. You want to be able to receive and also transmit. And to help with that, as it can do with all things, is to work with the breath. As you breathe in, you can expand, straighten the spine. As you exhale, you can feel yourself dropping roots from your feet, from the tailbone down into the earth. Just notice in this moment, as you go within, as you connect to that breath again, notice anything that's shifted or changed from the last time you did. Just lovingly acknowledge that awareness, and breathing in through the nose, releasing with ha, relaxing the jaw, relaxing the eyes. As you continue to breathe, feel a relaxation of even your forehead, relaxing your hair. You can actually relax the scalp. Breathing in and exhale. How the energy flows down on the exhale, down into the earth. Next breath comes in, and how it expands you. And then letting go down at the feet, down to the toes, down into the earth. They're already showing the image of the Queen of Wands again, that representation of the sun. So often people say that the sun is masculine, but there's also a solar feminine. That's what it feels like what's coming through in this moment is the solar feminine. So like the active force of creation, the activation. And so the sun has been very active these last few years. As always, like activating our DNA, triggering ancient memories, increasing the consciousness on the planet. We can see that. See it reflected in the History Channel, Ancient Aliens, Gaia, all these newer networks presenting information that was largely hidden or just not interested in. And so we want to lovingly acknowledge the sun, all she's done with that activation, this energy of the solar feminine that's available to us now at this day. It's 5/5 day. It's inviting us to have greater freedom, greater joy, greater expression in our life. So in this moment, I invite you to breathe that in, breathe in the energy of the sun that's shining on you, even through the house or wherever you find yourself. Let's raise these energies are coming deep into the cells, activating ancient memory, activating gifts and abilities, and ultimately activating awareness. And so in this moment, as you do this, just be aware of what you're aware of. And then come back to the breath. Feeling this energy move down through the top of the head. It's like a liquid light flowing down the spine, down along the shoulders, and also down through the heart and down into the belly. Feel it actually collecting in the belly, in the womb, in this place of creation. Feel as it does that, there's another energy kind of moving down the legs, down the feet, like something else is gently being not pushed or flushed, but just moved, like a gentle release, like a gentle cleansing, whatever no longer serves. We don't need to know what that is necessarily. Maybe you'll see a color, maybe you'll get a word, maybe a vision. Then just come back to the breath, come back to this awareness of there is an energy of the sun flowing through you, activating, releasing, energizing. And showing an image of a warrior with a feather. It looks like a feather. Let's see what kind of feather that is. This feels like a Mayan type person or being. Tell me it's like the light coat of the sun warrior. And so we're welcoming that energy, that archetype, that ability to fill and flood those areas that felt disempowered or scared, that were on edge or concerned. Using the breath to expand, and then the exhale to allow that flow down through the top of the head, down the spine, all around the body, down into the belly, down the legs, and then down into the earth. You actually feel it spilling out around your environment there, like this golden light, like this liquid gold energy. or maybe it has a different color for you. Just notice whatever that is. And even if you don't have an awareness of anything, just know that as you tune in, as you allow the receptiveness to this solar warrior energy, a divine feminine type warrior, one who listens, one who supports, one who protects, using this energy to help recalibrate the nervous system back to one of confirmation, clarity. I'm getting the word control, which is interesting. And so they're inviting you to see that you have control over the nervous system. Showing this being dancing. Like there's some kind of ceremony happening right now. And there's others joining in, not quite as clear. Other beings that are dancing. Almost like shifting the energy of the environments everyone's in. It's like cleaning the walls. Like how an onion cut on a cutting board leaves an energy or a residue. They're actually clearing some of the old residues, some of the old memories, some of the old energies that tend to permeate objects. And this is only for the stuff that is not in resonance with the heart, with the living light code of the solar feminine, which is the oneness and the unity of God, of the universe, of source. And so notice as that comes into your awareness, if there's any part of your room, anything that comes to the mind's eye that's being cleansed or cleared, or anything that's being more activated and charged. And just play with that awareness, nothing to do, just be curious. There's something being revealed, an object in each being's room or space that they're in. Keep your eyes closed, just tune in. And if we push too far, too hard trying to figure out, just come back to the breath, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. It's like clearing an artifact or a reminder of a time that was not pleasant or enjoyable. And in this moment, we're actually sending energy to not only that artifact, that object, but to the memory, to the experience, to the actual event right now in this moment. So we're bringing in this presence of the divine. So breathing in that feeling of being connected, of being supported, of being the divine warrior of love and light, not to destroy, not to dominate, not even to change anything, but just to emanate this field around this aspect or version of self in another timeline dimension or previously in this lifetime. And stay with the focus on your heart as you do this. Allowing any kind of release from the body, any kind of awareness that comes to the body. Come back to the breath, choosing the breath in the moment. And not succumb to the story or the vision. If you start to lean into it, it starts to feel overwhelming. Remember, oh yeah, breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. Feeling your feet, curling your toes a little, knowing that I am here, I'm safe in my body. And yourself held in the solar feminine energy, these warriors of protection around you, their love and emanation, the dance they're doing, assisting you in this moment. Stay with the breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth. See an actual like feather headdress being placed on beings here, on the people on this call. So in many cultures, feathers were worn as a symbol, as a representation of enlightenment, of to become lighter. To acknowledge certain aspects of ancestry, of a craft, of a career, of an attainment. So just notice, see if you can feel any of these feathers or that awareness, what some of these feathers might represent. And then just come back to the breath, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth with ha. Allow the body to move and sway a little if you like, while staying in this space. We want to stay connected with the body, stay connected and present where you are now in this safe space. And sending that safe, loving, patient, and present energy to any and all aspects of self. Can receive this love and attunement in this moment. Allow this to be overseen by the higher self, by your guides. There's nothing you need to do for this. Just the witness, you're just the awareness and the breath. So in this moment, the most important thing is your breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth, in and out. Expanding, letting go. We're going to feel the feet and the toes. A clearing of the shoulders. And the shoulds and the need tos. Allowing the organic flow of this now moment. Releasing need for control of others, of situations. Trusting and knowing that all is in divine flow. Bringing that presence, the ability to actually look and see what's right in front of us. Activating the deeper vision, deeper awareness, the deeper knowing. As we lovingly acknowledge these parts, whatever their experience is, from a place of neutrality, even though we may feel it, even though we may be drawn into it, to just come back to the breath to create that neutrality. Exhale to release. Focus on the heart to allow the flow of the divine solar feminine energies, this liquid light, to come to that space, to that environment. And it's just a holding space, holding presence of whatever's happening, not trying to flood or change it. Just notice how it starts to shift on its own. So as we do this, whatever the scene is, we're going to leave some of this energy there, allowing it to flood into that space, like pulling up like a puddle, like energizing one of the items in this scene or this realm or this reality. So there would be this connection, this ability for this aspect or aspects of self. to have this power and strength and ability to remember what is sacred, what is strong, and what can overcome all things in divine right timing, as is desired and when ready. And we're going to slowly come back. Back to the awareness of our physical body. Breathing in, feeling that expansion. Releasing with ha, feeling the feet, the toes. As you breathe and expand, feeling the chest with air, expanding the shoulders out. Feeling that energy move down the arms, down into the hands. And then looking as if the eyes are open through those eyelids, and just notice what you see, what you're aware of. Starting to tune into your environment with the mind's eye. Noticing the sounds in your space, and what that does through the mind's eye. If there's any visions or anything that comes through, just be curious. Slowly open your eyes, allowing yourself to look around, looking at your space, what's in there, what you notice, what you're drawn to. Maybe it was that item you visualized earlier that came into your awareness. And just be the witness, be the awareness. Don't judge anything, even though they're part of you, is noticing like, oh, that's a pot. Oh, that's a water bottle. And then just come back to your breath and let go of that identification or that label and look again. What is it really? What is the energy that's creating that? What is the space in between it? What is within it? What is around it? And how it doesn't even exist, except at a certain frequency, that I can perceive it, that I can touch it. And see the beauty and the remembrance of that. Like, oh yeah, this is all frequency. This is all vibration. And some things are more fixed and others are more pliable. So the nervous system can seem fixed. Our reality can seem unchangeable. But with awareness, with presence, with curiosity, everything can change. Everything can be transformed. Maybe in an instant, maybe in a couple years. But with that curiosity, with the presence and the divinity that you are, all things can shift, including the nervous system. And so the best way to do that is with the breath. We activate the parasympathetic nervous system with a deep inhale and a long, slow exhale. And helps smooth everything out, slow everything down. And the nervous system is like a tanker ship. And so as we do that, we cut the engines, but it's still moving, it's still going forward. As we continue to do that, it slows more and more. And so as we go through life and we get that feedback from the nervous system and whatever situation we may find ourselves, always the opportunity to smooth it out, to slow it down. What speeds it up again is the thoughts being offered, the judgments. I know what this is. This is a water bottle. You can't tell me any different. Well, somebody labeled that, somebody named that thing. What is it really? And so to just come back to the breath, come back to the curiosity. And this is the value of reading channeled material, listening to channels, people that bring in perspectives from other galaxies, collectives, beings, to challenge us in what we believe, think, and know. And so that's what's happening on the planet as well, is these beings that seem human, that seem to be in power and have some level of control over us, are inviting us to see that illusion that they can't control us, but we can control our reaction to it. We can control our reaction to when something happens in the world. Not immediately. For like the oil tanker, we got to work on cutting the engines first. We got to work on quitting the feeding it and then allowing it to slow down like a snow globe that's been shaken. So that's my invitation for this month, that no matter what happens, no matter what is said to you or done, to work with that presence, and especially with the solar energy. It was interesting. It was the solar feminine, which with the Queen of Wands is, you see the sunflower, you see the lions, you see the cat. All these things represent the sun. Even the staff is fire and passion. So it's really bringing our passion and our love and our presence and our magic in any now moment to what's happening. And that is the way we survive. The breath is the ultimate survival tool as well. Like, we are not here without the breath. So it's very, very simple. Like, you get into like the scientific aspects of all this, and I thought I was going to, but my brain's not working that way today. In fact, it feels kind of mushy. So what I showed you guys today is basically how I navigate a reality where I need to be perfect and I'm intelligent, but my memory sucks. So I had to embrace the feminine energy. I had to learn how to be present in the moment and engaged and feel all the things I didn't want to feel in this lifetime, and trust that I would know what to do in the moment, or what needed to be said, or how to respond. So thank you all for being here, for joining. Don't leave, because those that are on the call live, I'm going to stop the recording and you have an opportunity to share or ask any questions that might have anything that might have came up for you. But before I do that, I want to do an oracle card for everyone on this call to help us bring in any other energy that would be helpful this month, in the month of May. The Sacred Forest Oracle is my favorite deck. I use this oracle deck all the time whenever I do readings. It's one of the ways I wrap up the reading. It's like a portal to another realm, literally. I'm actually working on my own oracle cards that are called it's going to be called the Oracle of Realms. And so each card will be like a journey into these different aspects of the human experience. And it's becoming quite involved, but I'm hoping to have it done by the end of the year. So let's see what we got. Bluebird spirit, happiness. So, and this is what I put in the newsletter, is like, can we just allow ourselves to be happy, even though there's a part of us that's going to want to sabotage it, so that we can continue to feel the way we felt before? And how very often like stability and peace can feel boring and grueling. And that's like also the opportunity to like tune in to what's going on internally with that. Like, why am I feeling so uncomfortable in a situation that there's nothing physically wrong? There's nothing going on. And so that's what this meditation was, is like really taking all the opportunities to feel and go within and find those aspects of self that are in another timeline or another dimension or other reality that are struggling, and to bring the presence more than any other kind of therapeutic practice, because a lot of us here have done that and it's so helpful and it definitely works. And then there's these other deep unconscious levels that, as we become multidimensional, as we've activated these gifts and abilities, we've chosen to do that. Previously, other people that aren't into any of this stuff, don't have awareness of subtle energy, they don't really need to do that. We're on a different timeline. And so that's why I'm here. And that's why I'm talking about the new earth. And that's what I'm offering everyone, is like how to navigate this, as I myself have to navigate it. As the wounded healer, I'm not perfect and I have a lot of work I'm still doing on myself. And so I bring that to this too, like what is actually working and what isn't. Like, I've tried everything and I'm slowly finding the pieces, and it's getting better and better. And as that good stuff shows up, it's like, oh my God, I am freaking out right now. And everything, it feels great. all the feedback from everyone's like, your life's amazing. What's going on? I was like, I don't know. I'm freaking out. I'm ready to run for the hills kind of thing. So why does that happen? And then exploring that and then bringing this information to you guys so that you can work with it too. And so that's why I'm going to stop the recording now, because I'd love to hear what you guys have been experiencing and any questions or anything you have. So anybody that's watching the recording, thank you so much. Love you. And we'll see you next month. Aloha.